Listen, I want you to be under the table there.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, March 3rd, 2015 regular meeting. Call this meeting to order. We have a form. The prayer, I have the prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance, Tom Broker. Please stand. Father in heaven, we ask for your wisdom, guidance, and blessing to continue to promote community harmony. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our fair city. Let us pray for our fine, brave men and women that is serving our country well. Our prayers and thoughts go out to the Van Hook and the House family in the time of need for their loss. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody look over the minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to
for
approve.
February 3rd, 2015 regular meeting. Need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Nobody say no. Carries. We're moving in number 2, department reports. Fire department.
I'm going to take my 3, Chief Walker's 3. I'd like to introduce a couple of gentlemen to you before I get started, if I can. Tyler Fitzgerald, you can come on up here. You're not going to get off that easy, young man. Houston Russell, David Leonard, and Owen Ward. Can y'all come forward, please? Jerry's going to holler at me because I'm not over here at the mic. I'd like to introduce these fine gentlemen here to you. Mr. Taylor Fitzgerald here is replacing one of our full-time firefighters that we lost a couple of months back. So I just wanted everybody to know who this fine young man is. He is our newest paid firefighter on the department with us. Is Taylor Fitzgerald. What was your name again? A lot of you don't realize we started when the city took over privatized fire, we also added a volunteer division on as well. These are 3 of our newest volunteers to the city: Houston Russell, David Leonard, and Owen Ward. Go a little bit further. Houston here is Mr. Russell here's son. He's a fine asset to our department. He's doing really, really well, coming along. David Leonard here come over to us from Vergne Rescue Squad. We stuck a hand out when we took over vehicle extrication in the city. We stuck our hands out for them to come on board with us as well. David was one of the young men that come over from the rescue squad with us, and actually got to make one of the first department fires with us here about a week and a half ago. So, and then most of you won't recognize this young man today. This is Mike Walker's son. Owen is one of our fine fellows in blue, but he's also now one of our fine fellows in red. So he gets to wear both colors now. He is in our volunteer division at the fire department, but you will see Officer Ward in a marked patrol unit for the majority of the time. Recently had a new addition to his family. That would be the reason that I can get onto him tonight, and Chief Walker can get onto him tonight for the beard. So, but glad to have all these young men on board with us. They're doing an excellent job. Look forward to them being here a long, long time with us. So if everybody would just give them a round of applause. I'll try to speed it up just a little bit. Chief Clark, he actually took a trip to Kentucky earlier today. I don't think he's made it back yet. He's up looking at the fast attacks, doing like a mid-build inspection on those today. So he's on a road trip back from Kentucky right now. So luckily he'll get back in before the weather hits us. But he was good enough before he left. The 7 days, what we're calling our 7 days of our first winter storm here for this year, we put together this graph for you just to show you over that 7-day period of time of having the snow and the ice and the cold weather and everything, we answered 90 calls during those 7 days. A little breakdown to show you there, 36 of those were medically related calls. A lot of those were due to the fact that I think convalescent services couldn't get out and get on the road, so they were having to call emergency services to come out and deal with dialysis patients and things like that. So a lot of that 36 calls was that type of call. you'll see 13 falls there, a lot of broken bones. A lot of broken bones. The guys got to do a lot of splinting during that time. Some broken hips, broken arms, broken legs. Motor vehicle accidents, you'll see there we're at 17. Now that's, take in mind, this is just over that 7-day period of time with the ice and the snow. 1 vehicle extrication during that time, 2 fire alarms, 5 fire investigations, 1 grass fire. I honestly was going to go back and look at that today to see what the reason was behind that, because I can't really remember why we had a grass fire during that, but we did. 9 power lines down. A lot of that was due to the ice forming on the lines and such as that. 5 public service calls, and those range from us just, I actually transported some children from one side of town without power over to another section of town. So that's where those public service calls come into play. And then we did have 1 structural collapse in one of our trailer parks here in town. It came out during the middle of the night. Originally, it sounded like the occupants were trapped in the trailer itself. They were to some extent, but luckily once we got there, it was actually the roof on the front porch that had collapsed from the weight of the ice and the snow on it. So it was not truly them being trapped in the trailer. Although we did have to have the guys cut some relief holes and stuff in it, so if they did need to get in and out that they could. So it could have been much worse than what it was. But I wanted to show you this graphic just to let you see of how devastating just that little bit can be for us. So I hope this next round that we have comes just goes right on through and we get a little rain and we move on. For our regular monthly February report, we had a total of 275 calls. That consisted of 3 structure fires, 16 fire alarms, 1 vehicle fire, 6 grass fires, 1 hazardous materials call, 35 motor vehicle accidents, 173 medical calls, 11 canceled en route, and 29 miscellaneous calls. Our average response time for the month of February was 3.4 minutes, and our total water consumption for the month of February 2015 was 2,700 gallons. Any questions with all that?
Just want to welcome all the new firefighters on. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
They're doing an excellent job for us. The volunteer division, they fill in when we have, as we've talked about before, when we have training sessions going on or we have a man out sick and things like that, we call on these volunteers to come in, and they've been filling a lot of gaps for us in those areas. Some of them have pulled full shifts for us when we've got people. We get a bug in one station, and it goes through just like it does at school with our little kids. Same difference. You get a call in a fire station, you may have 5 or 6 in one station. So these volunteers are coming in really handy for us.
Reckon all of them keep the mic straight?
I kind of doubt it, but maybe.
Thank you.
He did do that. He did do that. Any other questions? Thank you.
Chief?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen, good evening. I don't want to be here tonight because while I'm here, Vicki is at LHS putting my baby through orientation for high school. So, yeah, my baby's growing up quick, fast, and in a hurry, going to high school next year. And I was teasing about not wanting to be here, but I would love to be there with her, I'm telling you. If you will look at the first one, back up 1, 2. There you go. That'll kind of give you an idea of some of the things we did. We took Sunday through Saturday for the week and went the 15th through the 21st. But you can see there from that perspective some of the calls for service that we had that we felt were more weather related than maybe some of the others. Next slide. We actually had 555 calls for service that week. 327 of them involved those you see. Now the escorts that week were all officers, including some old guy that worked till almost 3 a.m. on the Saturday and helped with a couple of these. But the escorts were actually us picking people up in that extreme cold and taking them to safety, getting them to a safe place here inside the city. If we saw them walking, and we had several that were for work. Motorist assist, that's broken down, stuck in the snow, a little bit of everything. You see how many that was. Burglar alarms, with that kind of weather, we have tremendous increase in alarms, fire alarms and burglars. The medical alarms we had 1 of those actually. Now, if you look at the next two, 50 property damage, only traffic crashes, and another 10 that were personal injury crashes. That's 60 traffic crashes in that week. That very closely resembles a month's total, and that was in that 1 week period where we actually had them as crashes. And then you go on down through, we get the road being blocked by vehicles stuck out there in the middle of them, the welfare checks where we were going to check on seniors and others that people called us about, and then threatened suicide. Those two we had there actually came from people being cooped up and had gone stir crazy and kind of got to the point where things were happening. I didn't include our domestics because we had only a small handful of domestics that week, and we couldn't actually relate any of those directly to. Next slide. Now on this one, you can kind of see the weekly comparisons. You'll have to look on your box more than likely, and you may have to go to the landscape mode instead of the portrait mode so that you can see it. But if you look at week 5 and then week 6 and week 7, you'll see the totals at the bottom down there, the calls for service of those types of calls, and then look at what it did on that winter weather week. You can see the drastic increase there, and you can kind of understand what we got going. Then the next slide is just simply a chart, the bar chart that just simply shows you graphically what you saw before. And then the dashboard information that we normally have gives you the 5-year period of time where that 12-month period actually ends in a January. It gives you that trending, and you can see there that January 2015 it decreased. Now, another reminder, because of 13 and 14, some of the issues we had with Arconics, we know we have duplications in that number there simply because of the Arconic software, and TBI worked very closely with us, and we removed all we could, but there are still duplicates that are out there, so that's an anomaly year for us. And then this is basically a month-to-month comparison of January of those other 5 years on the table down in the lower right. The next one is the same thing. It's the January month-to-month on the left that's showing you the January numbers 14 compared to 15, and then on the lower right it's actually the 12-month period there, which shows you your percent changes from month to month as we go through from December of 13, and you can see the changes and differences there. And then the last one is the report that we've started using, which is actually our report that you'll see from TBI for the crime in Tennessee, and it gives you an idea of what we had in January of this year. Many things had decreased drastically, as you could see from the others. I also want to tell you tonight that Officer Ward will shave before he puts his blue suit back on, and he would too with his red suit because he can't get a good seal with a SCBA mask on. But we forgive him because he brought us a brand new member of our 2 families now, little 9-pound Nash, and he's a handsome young man. I had the opportunity to see him, and I would say that Owen's on maternity leave, but he's actually family medical leave for the birth of his new son, and we're proud to have that new member of our family. We got a phone call last week. Cherie was on the phone and came and got me with Carry the Load, and those of you who have been here and been involved for the last 3 years know what Carry the Load is all about. They're coming back this year. This will be their 4th one coming through Laverne. Right now, we anticipate them being here between 4 and 6 p.m. On Friday, May the 15th. The news we have to tell you is they have selected Laverne as a rally location for Carry the Load, which means we get a lot more coverage. They do a lot of media for us and with us, and we expect a whole lot bigger crowd, and they're they're putting a lot more emphasis on it. They will actually take the Carry the Load Facebook page and create an adjacent Facebook page that feeds to the main one. That's Carry the Load - Laverne, Tennessee. So we're hitting the big time, folks. They've been treated very well the last few years, and they really have enjoyed the support they've gotten from Laverne, so we'll be doing that again. Any questions?
No.
Quiet.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to codes, Randolph.
All right, February 2015, the monthly report. Single-family dwellings, there were 3 issued, 1 commercial, 5 miscellaneous permits, 3 signs, 0 grading. Additions and remodels, there were 5, for a total number of 17 permits for the month. Plumbing permits were 4, single-family dwelling. Mechanical permits were 3, single-family dwelling and 1 commercial. Complaints called in for the month was 5 tall grass. Junk cars in the yard, there were 9. Others, to include trash, debris, so forth, was 78. Building inspections for the month were 73. Commercial fire inspections were 33 for the month. Inspections year-to-date were 85. Impact fees were $29,826 for the roads. Parks was $1,866. Police was $2756.68. Monthly revenue with impact fees. Year-to-date totals have been $5,399.92. Total number of single-family permits issued year-to-date were 7. Single-family permits issued during the same time period last year were 6. Total number of all permits this year-to-date are 32. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Randolph. Park and Rec, HA.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen. There's our February report. We got spring ball signups going on right now. We've had 135 in person and 72 online. We had 18 total help desk tickets at 116 man hours with 12 hours of overtime. Estimated maintenance city savings is $3,815, and that's stuff that we do in-house that we normally would have contracted out. We have finished all the dugouts in both complexes, so and we estimate that we saved about $6,000 just doing that ourselves, and they had not been renovated since they've been built, so it was time, and they needed it, and they're painted, and they have new fencing and everything, and new shingles on the roof, so they look really good. We have, don't forget about our Celebrate Laverne Historical Preservation Society is going to put on at the Civic Auditorium on March 14th. It'll be from 2 to 4, and at 2:30 we will have an exhibition of someone firing a musket. So if anybody wants to come out and watch that, that should be a lot of fun. We have the Easter egg hunt is on March 28th at Veterans Memorial Park. The games start at 9 and the actual egg hunt starts at 10. We also have a softball tournament that day for a Wounded Warriors tournament, and that's for a really good cause if y'all want to come out and watch some good softball and contribute to a good cause. We have a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee workshop on March the 16th at 6, and a Senior Citizens Advisory Committee meeting on March the 19th at 4. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, HA. Next will be Finance, Phyllis.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Alderman. Tonight's financial report represents our first 7 months of our fiscal year. For the general fund, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $4.5 million. That's mainly due to the $5 million bond that we issued. So if you take that out, revenues are down about $500,000. Local sales tax, we've collected approximately $2.9 million. That's about $677,000 better than what we budgeted at this point in time, and it's about $468,000 better than prior year. We've had some pretty good sales tax months these last few months. State Street Aid Fund expenses have exceeded revenues by approximately $88,000. Stormwater revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $279,000. And in our Water Sewer Fund, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $1.6 million. Second page represents our balances in our bank accounts. And the third page represents a comparison to prior year. In the general fund, revenues are up 6.8. Again, that's mainly due to the $5 million bond issue that where we're taking in the revenue for that. And the expenses are up about $813,000. Any questions?
Thank you, Thomas. Moving on to library data.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen, good evening. For the month of February, we checked out 6,379 items. The attendance in the library was 7,658, with an average per day of 383. We issued 125 new cards. There were 39 library programs and 914 in attendance. We had 2,353 total computer users. We were closed for a few days in February, and we do appreciate our patrons' understanding. The highlights of February included a partnership with MTSU. On the 9th, they hosted a new admissions orientation, and there were 50 students from Laverne, Smyrna, and Antioch who were enrolled for the fall semester. They were very pleased with the turnout, and we're looking forward to hosting that event again. On the 14th, we had Frozen in February Family Fun Day. It was a really great success with over 300 in attendance. The families participated in several interactive games, and they enjoyed singing songs from the movie Frozen. Now, Queen Elsa and Princess Anna joined us for the finale, and unfortunately, they left us that week with a lot of cold, ice, and snow. So we have decided that next year's event will be named Thawing Out in February. The winter reading program ended on the 28th with approximately 100 adult and teen participants. In March, we're going to be having the American Girl Tea Party. We're going to be celebrating KIT this time. This will be Saturday, March the 14th. We have 2 programs, one at 11 and one at 2, and you can stop by the Children's Department to pick up the tickets. As the page turns is our reading group. We will have one group meet this coming Thursday. This was our scheduled February event that we had to reschedule. The book will be The Girl Left Behind by Jojo Moyes. It's at 6 p.m. And then our March event will be March the 26th at 6 p.m. And the book to be discussed is A Week in Winter by Mauve Benchy. Now, March is Mystery Month at the Laverne Public Library. And each week, what we're having you do, there's going to be a mini mystery that's going to be posted. You come up and you grab a copy of the mystery, you put on your Sherlock Holmes hat, and you try to solve the case. Now, if you get stumped, you can receive an extra clue by checking out a book from the book potato shelf. And you ask me, what is a book potato shelf? Well, like a couch potato, it's a book that's been vegetating on the shelf way too long, that has not been checked out. They are smashing books that you would love to read, so you better go and pick one out. You can turn in your solved mystery to be entered for a weekly drawing for a prize, and each time you check out a book from the book potato shelf, you get an extra clue. So I want you to join us for Mystery Month. We've got to get these books circulating. Any questions?
That looks like the first cousin to Mr. Potato Head.
Well, we have another book potato sitting on our shelf, so come in and check it out.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Next will be water treatment. Thomas?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, Bruce. We have a pretty good explicit cover picture on our report this month, kind of typical of what the weather just passed. In our summer, we have the month of January. We're always a month behind because we're just pulling all our data off of February to start our monthly reporting. But we processed 77 million gallons of water this month through our plant. Our membrane unit reclaimed 7.5 million of that, saving in some metro fees there. Our distribution, our relationship with distribution, there was no new lines, no line breaks for the month of January, which is really good thing, I guess. With our finances, our expenses for the month of January were $3,455, which concludes our contract year. So we'll be issuing a credit of the $2,957 on the next invoice. What it is, we try to manage that allotment of the maintenance, and towards the end of the year, we have some purchase orders that are still out, so we have some unclaimed monies, and they'll just come up this year. So it's just a matter of taking care of the contract on that one. With our technical issues, there's only one I really want to go over there. We had a resident call in for a courtesy check of their water, which we really encourage that. We test the water every weekday of the month. We're out there collecting a sample from somewhere. And we want to encourage the people, just call the water plant and put their name as a request, and they get a complimentary evaluation of their water, no charge to them. And our part of educating the folks of Laverne. Didn't have any accidents for the month. It's always a good thing. We're fully staffed. And I guess one thing didn't make our meeting for last month. It's kind of important because in the year 2008, 2011, and 2013, we were happy to present the city with their Water System National Fluoridation Award. This means that for the whole consecutive year of 2013, the Center of Disease Control acknowledged our maintenance of the fluoride dosage in the water. And they set their limits between 0.7 milligrams per liter and 1 part. And so we were very, very happy to receive this again for the city. It runs down just the management of our system, flowing, distribution, everybody's work all in one. So that's about all I have for tonight.
What does the snow and cold weather, does that play a
one
part?
good thing this year, I guess, last year we had the polar vortex that came down, and it just hit all of a sudden, and it produced a lot of line breaks and, tank shortages. It just created chaos. This year it came on at just a little slower pace, and we didn't witness any problems at all. The distribution, they didn't have any line breaks. I think they had one just this last week, which is common for the ground settling. Comparatively, Metro had, I think 14 main line breaks, some really big ones they had. So Laverne was very, very fortunate. I think it's just been a good maintenance program for us. No major problems at all.
Thank you, Thomas.
All right, I'll drop this
Next
off.
will be Public Works, Garland.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Aldermen. This will be for the street department for the month of February. We had a total of 12 requests for brush removal. We had 287 pickups, around 56,000 tons. We had 299 man-hours in the workhouse. We had 101 work orders with a total of 56 hours of overtime. Mine's not counted in there, so it makes it about 105. But our special project was salting the roads. We had a rough week. All the ice was on the road. We had nothing to touch it. The plows go right over it. We couldn't. We just had to wait. We salted it when it warmed up, but when it's 4 degrees outside, it's not going to do anything. I mean, we tried to get to some of the roughest spots, but it was just hard to do. So, other than that, on the fleet department, we had 22 vehicle repairs, 17 in-house and 5 outsourced, 23 oil changes, 17 in-house. You'll see this number of 6 has went down from the last month where we started doing all the police fleet now on all the oil changes. 11 equipment repairs, 21 and a half hours overtime. That overtime was actually in the street department. One of the mechanics was helping helping on the streets and also doing any mechanic work we needed to do. Any questions?
No.
How are we doing with salt for tomorrow if we get any ice? I know we were.
Slim.
Huh?
Slim.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I forgot to say, we used a total of 400 tons. We've done about 400 tons just on that one. Well, I think we used a couple, maybe 10 tons a couple times before, but I want to don't know if I can say it here, but I think TDOT and Metro, they come through. I had 175. We had about 200, a little over 200 tons left out of the salt barn when it failed, and we kept it covered up all winter and had it, we got it cleaned. We used a lot of it. And then the 175 I got, they brought 100 one time to 75. And then, so we used about 400. We probably got 30 tons, but I did get a load of sand today to, we're gonna try to mix it in with it if the roads do get bad. I called down where we get the salt and asked, you know, if we could get any more. And she said she'd call me in 2 or 3 weeks. I told her I was hoping it was cut grass by then. But it has to be put in advance. Last year, the last 2 years, we probably used maybe 75 tons altogether. But this year is just something different. So all my guys, they worked. I mean, we were out 10, 11 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock in the morning, all night. I went home last Friday, went to bed. I didn't get out of the house till Monday. I was ready to lay down. Any more questions?
Thank you.
I guess you're doing double duty. You do utility too?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
This is for the month of February for the water department. Michael, he's also with his son for freshman orientation at the high school tonight. They had a total of 85 work orders, 83 Tennessee 1 calls, had 1 main line break. I think it was over in front of the auto parts store. 7 line breaks, 19,645 gallons not sold, 42 hours of overtime. And on Project AMR, they put in a total of 879 meters for the month. Sewer department had a total of 75 calls, service calls 58, pump station work orders 17. They done 3 final grinder pump inspections, and they rebuilt 6 of the pumps, and I think it's a pretty good savings for the city. And I think overtime was maybe up 5 or 6 hours from last month on the overtime. And the sewer department, their project was the AMR. They all went together putting them in with the firemen. Any questions?
Human Resources, Cheryl.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. Here is the report for Human Resources. We had 2 external jobs posted, 30 applicants. Actual new hires show 0, but actually we added 4 fine men in blue. And so we're happy to announce that as well. So again, we had posted that position last year, but they actually came on board this month. We had a total of 2 employee resignations, 3 workers' compensation claims, 2 liability claims, 75 Care Here appointments, 266 Care Here enrollments, 7 HRAs conducted, 364 dependent lives are covered, 198 employee lives are covered, total employee independent claims 133, 1 short-term disability claim and 1 long-term disability claim, for total claim dollars of $105,910. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I want to, all the departments really worked hard in the last few weeks, and I want to thank each one of the departments because the weather, I mean, it's been a difficult time, but they've done a great job from the police all the way down to the public works, and I appreciate all y'all. Moving on to old business, second reading, ordinance 2015-02, an ordinance to amend Title II, Chapter 6, Section 2-601 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the member of a local emergency planning committee. And Bruce, you want to explain this one?
Yes, sir. This is the ordinance to remove the position for the Smyrna-Rutherford County Airport Authority. They didn't have anybody that was available to be a member of that committee, so we've basically just removed them from the committee with this ordinance. So,
any more questions? All in favor?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, a second. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, no, it carries. Moving on to new business. Number 6. This is to appoint or remove board members to the Planning Commission. Put in a designee for me, and it's my choice. I will recommend John King to sit in when I'm not there. Moving on to number 6, first reading ordinance 2015-03, ordinance to amend Title 12, Chapter 6, Section 12-602 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding modifying to the residential code. Bruce, you want to?
Yes, sir. This is, as you recall from the workshop, we've actually got 3 ordinances dealing with fire sprinkler systems. This is the first one that actually modifies the residential building code by adding the provision to delete the sprinkler system requirements out of the building code. And this is just first reading on that ordinance.
Motion to approve or deny?
Motion to deny.
Motion to deny. Second?
Second.
Got a second? Open up for discussion. No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay.
Mayor, if you can do a roll call vote on that, it'd be helpful.
Okay, we'll do a roll call on it. Calvin?
Aye.
Aye. Say no? I'm gonna say aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Did you get that, Kathy?
I have Calvin, aye, Sherry, no. I'm trying to verify that. Dennis voted aye, Melissa voted no, Tom voted aye.
And this is to deny.
To deny.
So the ordinance is denied on first reading. It's 3-2.
I'm sorry.
The ordinance is denied on first reading at 3-2.
Motion's denied.
Yes.
Moving on to number 7, first reading ordinance 2015-04, ordinance to amend Title 7, Chapter 2, Section 7-229 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding automatic fire sprinkler systems for industrial and commercial buildings. Bruce?
This is the second ordinance regarding fire sprinklers. This one is different because it's for industrial and commercial buildings. It removes the 5,000 square foot requirement for buildings to have a sprinkler system, and it allows the fire code and building code to dictate which commercial buildings and industrial buildings must have a fire sprinkler system.
Motion to deny.
Motion to deny. Have a second?
I'll second that one.
Second. Do a roll call. Do a roll call, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
Do a roll call, Calvin.
Aye.
Aye. Broker.
Aye.
Aye. Sherry?
Aye.
Aye. Sherry? Aye. I'll say aye. Motion denied. Moving on to number 8, first reading ordinance 2015-05, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for map 29, parcel 20, consisting of approximately 63.25 acres located along Blair Road from a I2 heavy industrial zoning district to a PDR planned density residential and a R3 high density residential zoning district, and approved to concept plan for the Blair Road apartment development. Received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on February 24th, 2015. Need a motion, a favorable motion, say aye or deny.
You got an unfavorable from.
Yeah, unfavorable. Need a motion to approve or not?
Motion to deny.
Deny. Need a second.
Second.
Let's do a roll call. Calvin?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. It's denied. Number 9, Resolution 2015-01, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare certain property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and direct disposal of the same. Chief, you want I think this was 2 fire trucks.
Yes, sir. I'm not sure that we'll get them in on this next round, but these are 2 trucks that we're not going to need once the new apparatus comes in. Of course, we don't know what date those are going to be. We're supposed to do mid-inspection on them sometime around the 17th or the 18th. So we're getting pretty close to having those trucks here, and we're not going to have anywhere to put these older trucks. I sent each one of you in a email. I sent you the cost for maintenance on these trucks. You can see how old the trucks are. One of them's 24 years old. One of them's 31 years old. The maintenance on those 2 vehicles alone has run over almost $19,000 since January of last year. So they've just outlived their life. Hopefully they'll find a good home in a smaller community somewhere that doesn't run as many a volume of call as we do. But we just these are just pieces of apparatus that we won't need once the new equipment comes in. It doesn't fit the concept that we're going towards, and then obviously we're replacing old outdated equipment with the new equipment.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve or deny.
I've got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
These are the ones that the city. These aren't the ones that were given by the county.
No, sir.
Okay.
There was 2 different things, and we'll
Okay.
probably next month be coming back before you. We need to have some discussions, myself and Bruce and the county, and probably there's a lot of people that are going to be involved. But we do have 2 county trucks currently. They're listed in that same email that I sent to you, and as you can see, one of those is 24 years old. One of them's 15 years old. But that is a total separate thing altogether. That's a total different issue. These are currently city-owned trucks that we're wanting to surplus. The 2 county trucks, that's a whole nother issue that we need to speak about at a later date.
Any more questions? No more questions. Need a motion to approve or deny the resolution.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Approval. Need a second.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Number 10, a resolution to amend personnel policies and procedures manuals for adding a new inclement weather policy. Bruce?
Mayor, this is something that was proven to be needed a few weeks ago with the bad weather that came through. We did not have a written policy regarding inclement weather. This basically just outlines the process for closing buildings or closing early, whatever the case may be, and how that'll be handled. Hopefully we won't have to use this later this week, but that's what this policy is for. It is tomorrow, that's true. Tomorrow night.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Need a second.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Number 11, motion to approve a merchant's procedure application and agreement with the First Data Merchant Service to accept credit cards at the concession stand at Veterans Memorial Park. Need a motion to...
I have a question on that.
Okay.
You said there was a 17-page documentation? Have we clarified just what they're asking?
Well, Evan, actually, you looked at it, didn't you? And he had some concerns about it, so I may be able to speak to that more than I would.
Yeah, Phyllis and I spoke about it, and it's, I mean, I think it's a boilerplate credit card contract with a bunch of stuff in there that makes it really bad for us and really good for them. I mean, but I don't know that there's any way to change it. I mean, I think they basically said take it or leave it. Right, Phyllis?
What they said was it's a standard contract, and to get that contract changed, they'd have to take it to their attorneys, and the cost to get their attorneys to change the contract way outweighs the revenues that they would earn off of the credit card transactions.
But they're saying the cost to them. It's not going to cost the city for them to change their contract.
Right.
But they're saying they're not willing
But they're
to
not
do
gonna-
that because
yeah,
it costs
Right.
them more to do that.
Right.
They would make all us having it.
Because
So-
we're not gonna have the volume of transactions that would warrant them hiring attorneys to change the contract.
Is there any other competitors that maybe?
Every credit card processing charges fees, and they have a very, very reasonable, the good thing about their contract is they do have reasonable fees that,
We've looked at
into
several,
them.
and they are by far the most reasonable.
And let me say this for my part, I mean, I'm not sure that this contract they have is gonna be any different than what any other credit card company is gonna bring. I mean, they're all gonna be bad, and they're all gonna be good for them and bad for us. I think it's just a matter of, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know that should stop you from necessarily doing it. If this is a good service and, you know, people want it and need it.
Well, it's a twofold thing because, I mean, it provides an extra service for the citizens and all the people that patronize our ballparks because so many people come up and say, do you take credit cards or debit cards? And we always say no. So we turn away a ton of revenue by saying that. And, I mean, it would make it more convenient for us to have it, of course, but.
We're not any long-term contract.
How long, that's what I was going to ask, how long is it?
It actually runs kind of like a cell phone service thing. When you're not using it, you shut it off. So we would be using it, the one at the Parks building, because we do run buildings. People come up all the time and want to pay with credit cards, but we don't have that option right now. Well, if we have that, then we'll have it on, and it's the $5 a month minimum, which we won't have any problem doing. Okay. And then at the end of all season, when we're not running concessions, we'll just turn it off. And it doesn't cost anything to turn it off and turn it on. You just activate it.
So just for clarification, you're saying the $5, are they saying it's X amount for each credit card or $5? If I go...
Each machine you have to do a minimum, I believe, Glenn, at $5 a month.
Okay.
So.
And we're getting 3?
Yes. One at each concession stand and then one at the Parks building for building rentals.
Okay.
And it's also something that if it doesn't work out after the first trial period, we just won't go back.
And there's no penalty for early withdrawal?
No, sir. I didn't see anything. Did you, Glenn? Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, are you asking a favorable?
Motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion approved, and a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 12, motion to approve and amend the disposal of engineering service for Griggs and Maloney for the Sanders Still Water Storage Tank Improvement Project.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, it carries. We're down to mayor and alderman comments. Tom?
Yes, sir. Last month I brought up the farmer's market, and we really had not addressed it again, but moving forward, we really are going to have to get a move on. I want to, again, make sure everyone on this board is okay with that. Again, it was something we have to draft application or permit, whatever ordinance may need to be changed. We talked last month. But again, if we wait another month, I don't believe it will happen this year. So again, just asking for this board's approval. If everyone's still, I don't know that I fully got that last month. I want to make sure that everyone is on.
The only concern I had is, like, you was going to do it at the Civic Auditorium.
That was where we.
And how, renting out the Civic Auditorium more or less, people to sell stuff and make money. is something I don't think we've ever done in recent. It was mistakenly done years ago, and I think we've all kind of shied away from that.
Yes, sir. I think that's what we have to get with Evan and Bruce to kind of get our ordinances, everything we may have to vote on, but we can possibly do that next month or the month after. But if we wait till that long, we will not have the farmers or the participants to go. We're just running out of time.
One concern I have, if we do this, we're going to open up a door to other people wants to come and rent it to sell stuff. We have to turn them down or not.
AC and I were actually talking about this a couple weeks ago related to a different issue, and there is a provision in the municipal code where the department can allow people to sell currently. They have to get a permit from AC and from the Parks and Rec department in order to sell. Now, in the past, like you said, we typically don't do that, but there is a means to allow it in the municipal code already. We would just basically have to come up with the forms and whatever policies, you know, we would need to have in place in order to do that. So I think the ordinance already allows it. We just have to come up with the policies and procedures in order to actually do it.
Okay. That was the only concern I had.
No.
That's all.
Mr. Jones?
I don't have anything.
Ms. Brown?
Just wanted to say tomorrow we are expecting inclement weather again, so if you can, if the roads are bad, choose to stay home if that's a possibility for you. If not, be extremely careful. Our street department's running low on salt, so we want to make sure that we are not on the roads to make that even more difficult for them and the emergency services people. And let's all be really safe tomorrow and the next day.
Vice Mayor Green?
That was what I would think too. Stay in, stay warm, eat everything you can.
Remind what AC said about the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee. The 14th is having the celebrate the history of Laverne. Encouraging everybody that's got any old pictures, slides, photographs, artifacts about Laverne to bring them out. We're going to have refreshments, and then somebody from the Stones River battlefield is going to come dressed in Civil War attire and shoot off what they call it, a musket.
You'll do that at 2:30.
And should be fun. And keep the Van Hook and the House family in the prayers. They're lost, and just watch the weather. Be safe. And with that, call this meeting adjourned.